JJJJound. I don't know if I'm saying that right. That's how I would say it. 3 J's, JJJJound, as in sound. But that's what I'm reading this brand as. I might have this way wrong, but you know what I've got way right. There's a great shoe that we thought we'd missed our chance to catch is coming around again. We're not quite sure if it's happening only here in Japan, if it's happening in select places like Japan and the EU, or if it's going for a global release. I've seen all three listed in different places on the internet, but what we are sure of is it is a second chance to grab a pair of one of the two pairs. There's a green pair and a brown pair, either one of them of a great looking shoe, a really cool collaboration, and there's an immense story behind the JJJJound brand, and I don't know if I'm going to say that throughout this video. Maybe I'll just go with Jound and we'll drop the first 3 J's. It's a great story about what that is, what Jound is, what significance it plays in the sort of design and the global creativity movement that's going on and has been going on for the last decade or so, and how that fits in and why this is an important shoe in that kind of makeup of the design and the creativity that's going on around the world. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about Jound and what that is and where it is right now in this present time because of the pandemic, and then we're going to take a look at this shoe, or these two shoes, and why they're a great looking shoe and where the branding comes in, and a little bit about the technology on why these New Balance, generally speaking New Balance, but these one in particular, have a really great midsole that means you're in for a really great ride. So with those three things in mind, and without further ado, let's get into this video and take a close-up look at the Jound New Balance 992. This is the Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel, Tokyo Butter 23 Sneaker Channel des. Mainichi absolutely no day, Mainichi meaning to go and every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And we're talking over 600 consecutive days of content on YouTube without a single day miss, going all the way back to December 2018. Here we are in August 2020, so it's more than 18 months later, and we're still grinding out the content. And sometimes it's, stuff that everybody knows about, and they're just yeah, bread fours. We all know that's coming down the line. Sometimes it's stuff that's a little bit more obscure from, say, the Reebok line or Asics or things like that. But then a shoe like this comes along, and it's kind of, for me, a little bit out of left field. And I'm very, very sort of new to the brand, and also the brand being the collaboration brand, but also then New Balance isn't a shoe that I cover very often. It's not a brand or a company that I cover very often. There have been a few nice New Balance that I've looked at down the last few months, particularly the last 6 months. It's actually usually hard for a channel like mine to find content from New Balance, because what I always do is I do upcoming drops, and in the case of these guys I think it's August the 7th, and this video is probably going out there on something like August the 6th or August the 5th, so it's upcoming drops, things that are coming in the future. And New Balance is terrible for telling us what's coming down the line. It's really, really difficult to get ahead of the game. Often it's already dropped when it's already appearing on social media and the internet and things like that. A great shoe that I was able to cover was the Levi's, which is a really nice looking shoe. Really enjoyed that, and there have been a few Japanese specific shoes down the line that have either been tailored to the Japanese market or collaborations with the Japanese market or dropping just in the Japanese market. So the new brand, people maybe don't know this, but it's almost like an unwritten law that you have to own a pair of New Balance sneakers in Japan. Like everybody has at least one pair in their closet somewhere, and it's just, I don't know, it's a weird sort of thing that maybe somebody famous wore New Balance sneakers and then everybody was like, right, we're just going to copy him, so now everybody wears them, at least one pair. And usually they're pretty simple, they're not very complicated shoes, they're very simple, like black or white colorways with the branding on the side. But what we've got today, and what I often look at, is more complicated than that, because usually when it's an advance, and they're telling us in advance the shoe's coming, then it's a big shoe, it's got a collaboration to it, it's got some design features on it, and that's the case with this shoe, and it was the case with those Levi's in the past as well. So like I said, it's sort of a three-part video today. We're looking at what is Jound, and looking at the technology that's especially in the midsole of the 992s, and then looking at the branding placement on these shoes themselves. So without further ado, let's look at Jound's homepage, because there's a couple of interesting things going on there. One is the first thing that I'll show you, and it will be tough to show on the green screen, but I'm sure I'll position it in such a way that you can see it. But the About section on the homepage talks about what Jound is, and I dug into it and had a look around, because to be honest, full disclosure and all that, never heard of it. And what I first read is a mood board, and basically just a place to sort of throw up images of the mood that you're in, that represent the mood that you're in, and that's how the creator of Jound's started out first and foremost. Many people don't know this, but first it started out as a blog with actual text on it. But I think that was in 2006, and then in 2008 they decided to take off the text and just make it images, image after image after image, with zero, not even a title on each image, just images. Usually, or maybe even usually actually, I did see a cartoon up there today, but usually it's stuff from real life, stuff that people have seen just walking down the street. It's not cartoons or art that's been created usually, and it's just stuff that you can interpret as a viewer any way you want to. And apparently, as soon as they took the text off and made it just visuals, it really exploded. Now, does that sound familiar? Some kind of website that has just text, not text, but just visuals on it? Yes, because this was actually a precursor to things like Instagram and stuff like that. So we're talking about 2006 for the first drop on the vlog itself, and then the blog, I should say, and then 2008 changing it over to just visuals. But things like Instagram and stuff like that didn't start to come into our consciousness until the middle of the previous decade to this, so much later than the JJJJound brand. So that's this mood board thing. But then right now, what's going on with it is this right here, and you can see it basically just says, no, we've shut down, closed. A shop with two P's and an E is closed right now because of the COVID-19 situation. They are based in, I think it's Montreal in Canada, which is not in the States obviously, but they might still be suffering a little bit because of the COVID-19 situation. So that's what JJJJound is. That's its background. It's very cool. It's very hip. It's very current. It's very hype. It's mixed in with like brands like Off-White and that kind of supreme sort of level of consciousness in the world. So yes, it's a big deal when they drop a collaboration. What is interesting is that they are dropping this collaboration right at a time when they aren't actually selling stuff online. So it's kind of like a peculiar time to do that, but which makes me wonder if it is a Japan only drop or it's a Japan sort of themed drop if they were trying to do it in line with the Olympics, and then the Olympics have gone and been moved back a year, but they had to drop this anyway. And usually I've talked about that a lot at the channel, about this huge machine of capitalism that can't slow down or change direction. Even when something like the Olympics is actually pulled away, they still drop the sneakers that they were planned to drop in line with the Olympics, which might be the case with these guys here. Now, speaking of these guys here, let's look at that midsole, because the big thing on it is hard to notice, but I'll zoom in on it and you'll get a sense of there being some kind of writing on that midsole there. What that says is absorb with a Z or a Z, depending on which country you're from. And it's a big deal actually. If you dig into what absorb materials are, is that they're a step up from what most shoes have. And most shoes have basically the same chemicals and materials on their midsole and their outsole, being a rubber-based product which is very soft but not durable on the midsole, and very hard and durable on the outsole. So you get the softness on the midsole for comfort, and then you get the hardness on the outsole for durability. But what you've got in the case of New Balance and this Absorb technology is it's got this comfort level in there, but it maintains its shape over time. So it actually has a higher level of durability than most midsoles, because when you've, the impact of your foot, that crushing, energy that you're crushing the midsole down with every time you take a step forward, it often changes the shape of midsoles and flattens them and sort of spreads them out a bit. But this, the Absorb technology is actually designed to retain its shape a lot longer than most midsoles do. So it is sort of it's like premium midsole material, if you like, a step above what you'd normally get. So with that being said, let's actually get into the actual shoes themselves and look at the design on them. There are, like I said, there's basically two colorways. There's a green one and a brown one, or a grey one. I'd rather say brown. And looking at the 992, it's a beautiful shoe. It's not as simple as New Balance usually are to me. To me, New Balances are basically a two-level shoe. You've got the lower, and then you've got the upper parts of the upper, if you like, a toe box, and then the panel that runs around the side of the toe box, or the overlays. But in the case of these, you can see that there's almost like a third level going on there, and they've chosen to do that in a different color but the same shade. So if you look at the green ones, you can see it's almost like there's three kind of different shades on there that run through the spectrum, which give them a lot more light. life. If you think of standard shoes that just have that, toe box with the overlay on it, but these guys here have that extra paneling in there, especially around about the quarter line, and then it almost looks circular or oval, very, very round feel to it, and it gives it a very different feel to most New Balance shoes. So it's a very, clean looking upper, a little bit more complicated, a little bit more going on than normal New Balance sneakers, but very much, premium materials, very clean, very nice. And the main feature is when we get to the heel and have a look at the back there, where you get that JJJJound branding on the back there, and I do need to say it that way because that's exactly what's written on the back. But that's pretty much the only place I've been able to find the branding. You might find it on the insole as well, but I haven't noticed it there yet. Up on the top of the tongues, I didn't see it there either, just that 992, New Balance 992 up there as well. So I think the branding is only going to come in, like I say, on the heel right here on both of them. We'll look at both colours just so that you get an idea of what that branding looks like. And that's pretty much the look at these shoes. Like I said, there's a 3-part video today talking about what is Jound, talking about the technology on that midsole, and talking about the actual shoes themselves, and they are coming round, as you know, and there seem to be quite a lot of restocks right now. There's some Dunk lows that are coming out that dropped back in 2001, and people who held on to those pairs are going to be disappointed that suddenly they're getting a general release. And it's the same with these guys that they dropped originally and they were kind of rare and people sought after them, but now they're getting a second drop, and those people who clung on to them originally are going to be like but that's the way the sneaker world is. Sometimes you hold on to something and it just becomes iconic. Sometimes you hold on to something and it gets a general release, such as life. Speaking of life, it's already after midnight. Got to go off and get this video edited for 2 days time now. It's Tuesday night right now, so this must be Thursday's video, which is the 6th. And like I say, the shoe drops on the 7th. So without further ado, I'm going to get off, go and take care of this video. Thank you guys for checking out the content, and I'll say what I say every single day, which is I do this every single day. So you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.